All right, so we got Monstrositous minute episode. I'm not quite sure with good friend Mike Snyder today. Me and Mike go back. God, it's been about 15 years we've known each other,
Mhm.
and he's the head strength coach at Trinity High School, which is by far the most successful high school athletic program in the state of Kentucky. And just excited to have him on and talk some shop today.
Yeah,
How you doing, Mike?
I'm great. I appreciate that. I'm sure some other people would disagree about us being the most successful, but I feel like we do a pretty good job when it comes to athletics. Yeah, we're pretty good. We're pretty.
I know you had the Willoughby kid, the pitcher, like you clocked 99 at combine for MLB, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
You guys were first in the country. They gave you the national
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah, we were number one in a few different national polls. I think there's like three big ones, and I think in at least two of those we were number one. Now, who really knows? How that goes with high school sports. Are we really better? But when we did play the big national teams, we held our own. So the powers that be said, "Yeah, we're number one, and we'll take it."
Oh yeah, for sure. And like football wise, I mean, you guys are have been pretty much untouchable for the last several years with 6A, correct?
Yeah, when we had the coaching change a few years ago, we expected to be down, just kind of based on the numbers and everything in our program. We knew it would be a small transition,
Yeah.
and then after 2 years, we kind of got back on track to where we've won three in a row. Very very blessed to have a strong senior class coming in that was very important when they were all freshmen in that championship run. So we're going for four in a row this year. On paper, we've got a really good shot. But you don't win championships on paper, and our schedule is those first seven games are murderers row. So if we can come out healthy, I think we've got a pretty good shot when it comes playoff time.
Yeah, that's always the key, right? It's trying to keep everyone together at the right time. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because if no matter how good you are, if you're not on the field, it doesn't make a lick of
yeah,
difference. So, and that's part of what we've been working at since the third week of January is, yeah, we're trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, but we're just trying to build that armor up on these kids so that they can withstand what's coming to them once August rolls around.
for sure. And I think that's the most fun part about it. It's like that's how I kind of use the same terminology. Like your muscle is armor. So we want to put some tissue on. We
Yeah.
also want to get strong. We also want to overcome some mental barriers. I mean, that's really what to me off season is like there's another level of competition before the competition hits.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. We're competing in January and February
yeah,
and March. So I mean we're competing with ourselves just to get ready to compete with others. So it's football's off season is our in season. Our
yeah,
strength coach wise, it's our in season. So it's go time for us. So we're trying to pull some things out of those kids and put them into uncomfortable positions. So at the end of the day, we win the last game of the year because that's the only goal.
yeah, for sure. Before we get into kind of what you do now, talk to me about high school and college and what you did before you became a strength coach. I mean,
Yeah.
because I
So
know a little bit of your
yeah.
story, but I don't know it all.
Yeah, no doubt. Like a lot of the male faculty at Trinity, I'm an alumni. So a lot of the males there, I'd say over half the males there, we came back just because we had such a nice experience there. So I was a football guy all 4 years. I ran track for a year, and then once I found out I couldn't go on spring break, I decided not to run track anymore. Stupid 15-year-old kid there. And then kind of the same thing with baseball. I played baseball my freshman year. Honestly, I felt like I was probably a better baseball player, but I didn't love it to the level that I did football. So I stuck with football. Um, after that, I thought I was done with football. So I went to Western Kentucky. I had some offers to go play some smaller school, get school paid for. And I had some PWOs at bigger schools, but I was like, man, I'm done. I'm done. But I still had an itch. And I stayed in contact with the staff at UK. And at semester, I decided to, give it one more run. So I went over to UK. It was going to be a gray shirt. And again, priorities all in the wrong spot. I I decided, man, this ain't for me. The final straw, kind of funny. I'm getting ready to go to those early morning 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. Conditioning sessions, and I'm the only one in the house who's an athlete. Everybody else is your typical college kid. So I'm stirring in my bed at like 4:15 in the morning, and my roommates come home stumbling from a night out. And I won't go into the details, but I'll just say that my laundry basket was ended up smelling like urine after they came home. And that was kind of the final straw for me. I'm like, screw this. I'm just going to be a college kid. So I finished up my degree. I've got my exercise science degree, and then that brought me to Velocity, where you and I initially met. Again, just training athletes because I knew that's what I wanted to do. I mean, obviously, I've been doing it for 20 years, and I loved every aspect of it. But as I said, I thought I was done with football, and I was, but I just wasn't done being an athlete because I still had that itch. I was young, so I was sitting at my dad's house one day, and I was flipping through. I think it was a Men's Health or Men's Fitness, something like that, and they had an article in there about the Winter Olympics. Profiling the sports, profiling the athletes, and I came across the bobsled, and it just said a lot of those guys are former football track guys. You got to be really fast and really powerful to be a good bobsledder. And I was like, well, I'm really fast, really powerful. Let's see what happens here. So I did some Googling, found their combine numbers, and I was without training for anything. I was just working out. My numbers were already putting me at a national team level in terms of the tests. So sent somebody an email and they said, well, if you pay your way up here and you pay for your week up here, you can come up here and try out. So that's what I did. Hopped on a plane to Albany and then went over to the Olympic Training Center in Lake Placid, and a 1 week trip turned into being up there for a few months. Started the first year on the developmental squad, basically where I'm racing on the America's Cup. And then the second year, I was lucky enough to be named to the national team. So that was a really, really cool experience. Um, Made the national team, and then ended up breaking my foot in a race. Yeah, I was pushing off the block. So again, if you're not familiar with the sport, basically the start block, it's more or less a 2x4.
Yeah.
So when you drive off of it, that's pretty critical. Well, when I drove off in one of the races, it felt like somebody hit me on the big toe with a sledgehammer. So I ended up breaking a bone in there, and had surgery and everything, and was fully ready to come back for the next season, in great shape. And then the Trinity job kind of abruptly opened up, and it was kind of the job that I always wanted. It was a job I thought I'd get 4 or 5 years down the road, but it fell into my lap I was like 26 or 27 years old, and you know opportunity knocks, and I made a decision to make a long-term choice. And so I've been there ever since. Would I have been an Olympian? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not though, because those dudes are some freaks. I was fast and powerful, but as you know, there's levels to everything, and I was not at the top level of what those USA one gold medal winning guys were at. They were on another step above. So there were some pretty freaky dudes. So would I have gotten up to their level? Who knows? But I love where I'm at. Super happy. I'm going into my 15th year at Trinity. And I don't want to be anywhere else. So, no regrets for me there.
Yeah, absolutely. I trained, I think I talked to you about this like several years ago. I was training a guy getting ready for skeleton,
Mm.
and he was one of my football guys at SEMO. His twin brother was Marsoc, and he decided he was going to try skeleton. So, they both were a little bit crazy like that.
Yeah.
But like the numbers that he would put up, like in training, were just insane. And it wasn't like that in college. I don't remember him being like that, being that responsive. But
Yeah.
I guess the competition level, once you get to there, like it's, as Macho Man says, the cream rises to the
Dream
top.
Riser. Yeah. Yeah. You see what's around you and you're like, if I'm going to do this, I got to go up to it.
Yeah,
And I was thinking about this the other day. So I'm a tier system guy. I'm a
yeah,
Joe Ken guy is one of my mentors. And I was thinking about this the other day when we initially set this up. So I was training for bobsled there at Velocity while you were there. And I don't know if you remember or not, but you introduced me to the tier system. You wrote it out on a little post-it note. You wrote the TLU, LUT, UTL.
yeah,
In terms when we were talking about trying to do some different things with my training, you introduced. I knew about triphasic stuff, but
yeah,
you also introduced that to me in terms of something that I was doing. So that is stuff that I still incorporate today. So, let's roll back 15 years. Thanks for opening my eyes to that a little bit and let me experience in that as an athlete. But yeah, you're right. If you want to do it, you've got to get up to that level of the competition. It's just like any other sport, though. I mean, otherwise you're on
yeah.
the sideline and nobody knows who you are.
Very true, very true. So let's talk about your transition into Trinity because you came into a very well-established program.
Hmm.
Like, how did you tackle that thing initially? Because it's hard when things are ingrained, and you're the new guy, even though
Yeah.
you weren't the new guy. Like they
Yeah.
all knew about you. But I mean, how did you approach that?
Yeah. So again, I won't go into the details of how I got the job, but the job very quickly opened.
Hmm.
And I was thrust into the position 15 minutes after it opened. So, I took over a training session when I woke up that morning, having no idea that I was going to take over a training session. The philosophy of the previous coach, again, very, very old school. Squat, bench, deadlift, love those things. Okay, love them. But squat, bench, dead, basically more or less, he was training power lifters. Um,
Yeah,
again, which is great. You want to be strong and everything, cool. But just from my background as an athlete and everything that I had learned, and I think like my 5 years at Velocity, I thought there was a better way to do it when it comes to people competing on the field and on the sport. But I knew I couldn't do it day one because then I wouldn't get anything out of the guys. I can't walk in and say, guys, this is wrong and we're doing this because
yeah,
I would have
yeah,
had a ton of pushback. So it was low hanging fruit. All right, so let's find the most glaring thing that I can fix right away. Check that off the box. Next thing, check that off the box. So it was just a very, very slow drip in terms of me putting my signature on the program, getting them away from sumo deadlifts and straddle deadlifts and stuff all the time for maximum weight. It was always about weight, weight, weight. Um, and honestly, it took until like those sophomores had graduated before, basically once I had my crop of own guys, before I really had my full system, my full system in. It was it was funny. There was a Facebook page created by some of the students of basically making an online petition to bring back the former coach. That that I kind of had to navigate because like I'm trying to train these kids and I know like the three or four kids who created the page like I know them.
yeah,
I've still got a good relationship with some of them today, but it was just an interesting dynamic those first couple of years. So I wasn't tier system, right away. Basically, I was
mm,
I was putting my athletic touch on the squat, bench, deadlift, that we were so focused on,
yeah,
and it really took until basically like year three before we really were training as just guys who just knew how to train like an athlete. I still want to bench big,
yeah,
I still want to squat big, but I want to run fast, I want to jump high too, and I want to be healthy. And I think that was one of the big things was that, knock on wood, our injury rates, started to go down
yeah.
once we started to take a more, I guess you could say, a more holistic approach to how we were training our kids.
So what do you attribute that to? Like in terms of the ACLs, like I know stronger hamstrings, stronger adductors always work, but also just better sprint mechanics themselves also helps that out too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So
is that what you kind of attribute it to?
Yeah. So again, sprint mechanics, but a lot of it was, we would take time, not just linear speed, but a lot of multi-directional stuff.
Yeah.
Having my body organized in a position to where it was going to change directions, yeah, faster, but in a more efficient, safe manner. So we would take time, to do that. And again, we've had ACLs,
Yeah.
and things like that, but just the incident rate of it is much lower than it was. So again, we're more mobile. There was a big emphasis on let's be a little bit more mobile than we were. So we're not locked up in our hips, not locked up in our low back. So there's a lot of mobility work being thrown in with teaching them how to run in a straight line correctly, teaching them how
Mhm.
to move laterally in a little bit more efficient manner. So, it was a lot of things. And again, a lot of it comes back to a lot of the things that I learned, at Velocity, underneath Greg, when he was teaching that stuff. Because, and I'm still learning all this stuff today because everything's changing. But yeah, it was just more holistic. We want to be strong. We want to be mobile. We just want our bodies to feel good when we go
Yeah.
out. That was such a huge thing. Um, I say all that, and now we're going to have 9 ACLs this year. So not, hope not.
Yeah. I hope not too.
It is a crapshoot, man. There was one year we went like 3 years. I had like one in 3 years, which I was pretty happy with. And then the next year, didn't make any changes, any wholesale changes in
Hmm.
the program, and we had four before the season started, and I was freaking out. Like I was
Yeah.
emailing some of the coaches that I respected more or less, some mentors to me. I'm like, guys, what am I doing here? Here's what we're doing. What is wrong? What is going on? And the longer you're in the game, sometimes you
Yeah.
just realize that's how it goes. Just sometimes that stuff happens. You can't avoid it.
Yeah. What do you kind of attribute that to? Because there is a higher incident of ACL, even like professionally now. Like, what do you think it might be? Let me preface this first.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to make sure I say it right because I came to where I'm at now from private sector. But we've got and you've gotten everybody's got kids who train with us, and then 90 minutes later they're with their private sector coaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really just think we're overfilling the bucket.
Yeah.
I know we can place a huge emphasis on recovery, and I know these private sector facilities have got great recovery rooms. They've all got Normatec boots. Some of, they've got cold plunges and all that stuff. Um, but still, sometimes you just got to do nothing. And
Hmm.
I feel like, and it's not a fault of the kids. I don't know who's really at fault here because the kids are trying to get to the next level, and other people are trying to run their business and keep the lights on. And I'm trying to do my job. So we're all trying to do it for the right reasons, but we're doing too much, in my opinion. Where the kids are doing a little bit too much. And then if you think about before they even get to us, what did you do as a kid? What did I do as a kid? I was outside
Played a lot of sports.
all day until it
Yeah.
got dark in the summer. I was riding my bike. I was climbing trees. We were playing tag. We were playing home run derby. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't think we're really getting that with the kids today. They're playing 2K on their Xbox and PlayStations. So I guess that's kind of the base of the pyramid isn't really there. The GPP that I had from 5 years old to 12 years old, where I didn't know I was making myself a better athlete. I was just having fun as a kid. I don't think a lot of those kids are doing it. I was having, just, having just a BS back and forth with one of my basketball guys a few months ago. And I was asking them, where they go play pickup games at, like what open runs do they go to out at the park? He said, Coach, man, I just play 2K. Like, well, I said, you don't go out to the park and like just play with no, no, we play 2K. Okay. I
Yeah.
so I think that's pretty common with kids nowadays. Is that they're just not, being kids in the sense of how you and I, knew,
Yeah.
30 years ago. I think that's
Yeah. Like I remember playing. We didn't have football growing up, so my high school had 100 kids in it. There was 36 in my graduating class, and we were one of the biggest in 20 years. But during basketball season, we would go play pickup, and no matter if there was snow on the ground or not, we'd go out and we would do that after practice. But it was like year round for us. And we, like you say, baseball, and we're doing all sorts of different things. Like I don't like the movement diversity is probably a big part of it. But also when you're AAU, from the time you're in fourth grade on, you have a certain set of movement patterns that you're always locked into.
Hmm.
And that makes me worry about some of our guys like Pierre, like who is off the fucking charts. Like
Yeah.
he is unreal.
Yeah, he's a one percenter,
Yeah.
in terms of being a basketball kid. Yeah.
Yeah. But it always kind of makes me wonder, like, are we going to have problems down the road just due to the wear and tear? Like, I don't think so because Dad's pretty squared away. Like he kind of understands reload regulation and whatnot. But what about other kids like that that are gifted that we don't come in contact with? Are they going to fall off at some point? And that always makes me worry about them.
Right, right. And I think it's, all right. So I'm a multi-sport guy. Like
Hmm.
I'm an advocate up to a point for it. So, while these kids they might be in their off season all year, they're still doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
I'm still always doing basketball drills, even in the off season, where yeah, eventually your body's it's gonna start to say no at some
Yeah.
point. Whereas if you took 3 months during the summer and just and played baseball or whatever off
Hmm.
season and played a different sport, while you're still stressing your system, you're stressing it in a different manner.
Yeah.
So, your joints are feeling things in a different way. Your muscles are absorbing and producing force in a little bit of a different way, which I think over time um, reaps benefits. And then, once you're, sophomore in high school, whatever, 15, 16 years old, and people are starting to talk to you about, hey, come to our school, and in today's world, we're going to give you money.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Go do your one thing. Okay. But again, it comes back to that, that not knowing we were building GPP by just doing different things. I don't think they're getting it. And you eventually you drive a car, eventually you're gonna have to change the tires because they're gonna wear out. So we're never changing the tires, so to speak.
Yeah. Cool. So I want to get into something because this is a learning opportunity for me because you are incredibly good at the speed side, and it's something that I wish I had more time with when I moved to Louisville. But I came to Velocity knowing that I thought I knew everything about what I did because I was in my bubble,
Yeah.
and getting thrown to Velocity real quick showed me that I don't know everything I think I know. Had I had more time, I think things would have been lot different in my own mind as to how I would segment things. So how do you develop speed? How do you go about that? Like, what's your week look like? I'm not asking for weight room stuff. I'm just saying, how do you program that out?
Yeah, yeah. Again, let's come back to velocity because you're just triggering my brain on memories. You know, again, you felt like you knew everything because you were in your bubble, but you again outside of the tier system and everything, like you introduced me to again different ways to think. Again, we were having a conversation. We were watching a kid do a multi-directional day, and he was changing directions, and he was slow
Yeah,
at it, and I commented to you that it was something along the lines of I think his feet are not in the right spot, his base was too wide or whatever it was, and then you countered it with, well, actually I think it could be a little bit of eccentric strength. And again, I was aware of what eccentric strength was and what it did and everything, but the light bulb never went off on me for how that can impact change of direction.
yeah,
Again, I was a young coach. I knew what I knew. I didn't know what I didn't know. And then you introduce that to me, and now that carries over into how we do things nowadays. So what does our speed stuff look like? So we start speed training basically kind of once the weather slowly starts to get a little bit better. I think this year was late February. So there's not a set start date, but it's more or less once we get out of the bitter cold. We start it one day a week. where we do it on Tuesdays. I structure my lifts so that basically we're tier system, so our upper session is going to be on Mondays, where traditional tier are it's going to be total
That's
session, and that's going to be a real taxing day. So I don't want our kids coming into speed blown up. Now they still train lower body the day before, but not to the intensity. So I flip that. So we have it on Tuesdays, right at the beginning of March, late February, and we start. Again, we're super super simple when we start things. Again, part of the reason we're super simple is I'm teaching it to between 80 and 100 kids, depending on how many
yeah,
people show up. So I can't get too crazy. But again, big emphasis on just movement mechanics. Um, making sure things are in the right position. Now the kids aren't perfect, but they're a lot better than they would be if they didn't have any of the coaching. So emphasis on that, and we start with a low dose. And again, day one. I think day one for us this year. I think we ran like 5 or 6 tens.
yeah,
That was day one. I'm not going to throw them out there 30, 40, 50 yards day one.
yeah.
There go your hamstrings. So we just slowly start to build on that, and then once we get to where we've got consistent, like nice days out, where it's 50 degrees or whatever, we add a second day, which is going to be a multi-directional day. Again, working with large groups, I use a grid format where basically, we're on that football field, and I lay out cones, and
Hmm.
so every 5 yards, we've got what 12 lines, so 14 cones, 14 codes wide for every basically 40 yards. And if you looked at it from an overhead view, it's just cones every 5 yards all lined up. So that's more or less the grid. And when we do that, a lot of that stuff is going to be everything is going to be done, on a whistle, meaning when I hit a whistle, you're going to change direction, so on and so forth. Again, part of the reason is we got so many stinking kids with that, and we can keep it super super simple, where it's just lateral shuffles or back pedals or crossover runs, whatever that might be. And then again, as time goes on, it gets more complex, where we are marrying multiple movements together. Um, but our speed work never leaves. I
Yeah,
think I think that's critical. Once we get later in the year, we lose the multi-directional day because kids are starting to get multi-directional work simply through practice and everything.
yeah,
But linear speed never leaves, and that's really really key. Again, if you look at the studies, you could, what's the speed retention window, like, I don't know, 5, 7 days, something like that.
yeah. It's not very long.
Yeah, it's not very long, and you could make the argument that it's not true, and my data can also back that up, because we might have a time where, all right, we have to miss a week of speed work. Kids aren't touching high speeds in practice, and then the next week they PR on their speed. Well, speed retention, what are we thinking at? So you can make some arguments on that, but whatever, that's not the point of this. When we do it, all right, I waive it in terms of how we structure it. So I'm gonna have two higher speed days. So high speed. Then the third day is going to be more acceleration focused. Now that's not to say that the high speeds are the same every day. So one week could be, we're hitting flies. So whether we've got a 20-yard lead into a 10 or a 30-yard lead into a 10, whatever that may be. Um, the other day, the following week, it could be straight 40s. It could be in and outs, or fly float flies, whatever you want to call them, where I'm hammered down, let off the gas pedal, don't slow down, just stop trying to go faster and then reaccelerate. I think that's really, really important for sport, because that happens so often, and oftentimes that's when you'll see that pop happen.
Hmm.
So I want to expose the kids to it. My sweet spot with our yardage on that is I really try not to go above, especially once we get into summer and into the season when we're actually playing football. I try not to go over about 100 yards of high speed yardage. Now, yeah, total yardage throughout the session is going to be higher, but 100 yards I've kind of found to be that area where it's not going to take away from practice.
Yeah,
Kids are going to come back and they're still going to feel okay. So most of those days, again, 100 yards being the tops, but I'd say most of the time, we're between 60, 70 yards, where it's two, maybe three reps of full work. So where I've got two reps of a flyer, two reps of a 40, and that's it, shut it down. So more or less, I want them to touch it, I want them to feel it, and then go on, get out of here. Because I'm not track and field. I'm not a track and field guy with my,
Yeah,
we're trying to win football games. We're trying to win basketball games, whatever it is. But I think the most important thing that we do with our speed, whether your philosophy says, hey, I want to do acceleration max V, or two accels and one max V, just don't let it go away.
yeah,
If it stays a priority, um, you're going to reap the benefits of it. Again, I gave a presentation earlier this spring. I think it was 14 guys hit 90% of their all-time PR on the week of the state championship. And again, their PRs are done March, April, May, when we're just in t-shirts.
yeah,
They're PRing on the last week of the year, full gear, whether that been on Tuesday or in the game, or they're getting near PRs. Like, you're faster. Like
yeah.
you're 100% faster. Um, I've said a couple times that we do it on Tuesdays. We do it on Tuesday because that's our high day in practice.
Mm.
That's our most stressful day in practice. So I want to keep the highs highs and the lows lows. So I'm gonna throw that, that high intensity day of speed in on that Tuesday for that reason. I don't want them to have a high Tuesday in practice and then the following day they got a high speed day. Now they might hit high speed in practice, but they don't have a session of high,
Yep.
you know. So, more or less high low, if you want to call it that. So that's how we roll it, man. Tuesday's the day. That's our go time. The kids love it. Objectively or subjectively, our coaches think that Tuesday practices, they start off much quicker, because the kids are primed. That's at least what they tell me is like, hey, those first 15 minutes of practice, our kids are rolling. Where on Wednesday, it
Yep.
takes just a little bit to get going.
Yep.
That's probably because they've been going.
Yeah.
They've been
Woke them
going. They've
up.
been they've been they've been hammering down, trying to run as fast as they can. And we're lucky enough that we use GPS tracking, so the kids eat that up because every day after a speed session they come to my office, coach, what's the speed? What's the speed? Like, give me a minute to upload it. I just pulled your devices off 90 seconds ago. But even if you don't have GPS, if you work with smaller teams and you got two sets of timing gates, you can fly those kids through, or even not. Like, just as a coach, you can tell
Yeah.
when your kids are going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can tell when they're competing. So I waterfall the majority of our sprints. So where one kid goes, he gets 5 yards down the field. Next kid,
Hmm.
bang bang. That allows me to see a lot of the kids. But again, if you don't have that, let them race.
Oh, yeah.
Get through your technical part of teaching. Okay, go through your prep work, go through the drill work, teach it, apply it, teach it, apply it. But then those last reps where you're running 30s or 40s, boom, hit them on a whistle and let's go.
Hmm.
Let's go. Like, let them compete. That's when we had a kid not hit 20. He's like 19.8, 19.9, and he's a big time kid. Hit 19.8, 19.9 all year. And then we pulled up a freshman who was a burner.
Yeah.
And it was a rep where, like, hey, we want to race. And all the older kids told him to run next to this kid who hadn't hit 20. Um, and he didn't want to get beat by a freshman. So he comes out and runs 21.6. He runs 21.6 because just because he was competing,
Hmm.
because yeah, like, hey, I'm not going to lose to a freshman. I'm a starter. I'm going to go to college and play big time football. I'm not losing to some freshman. And he
Hmm.
pops a 21.6. And now he's consistently over that. But like, just competition during those speed days can be great for the kids too.
Yeah, I love that. Part of the thing that you said that I really like is you keep it in constantly because what never gets thought about is like we're all right, we're trying to make kids faster, but also during high school they are growing so fast. So the speed has to grow with them. Their
Hmm.
bodies are going to change, the muscle mass is going to change. That changes leverages, that changes everything.
Yeah.
So keeping it present means that they're going to grow as their bodies grow and mature, which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a skill. It's no
Yeah.
different than throwing a football. It's no different than learning how to strike, on the right part of the chest. If you're, an O lineman or a D lineman, you got to practice. You got to train the skill. So as
Hmm.
as your body grows and develops, yeah, you have to continue to emphasize it and develop it. And our coaches fully buy into it.
Hmm.
Our coaches fully buy into it. Once I explained the importance of it to them, they fully bought in. And then once they saw the soft tissue injury rate
Yeah.
drop, it's non-negotiable now. It's
Yeah.
non-negotiable. Even if I'm not there, if I'm out sick or something, they'll get it done. Probably don't get it done as well, but they do get it done, and they have our kids run fast. So prioritize the speed is the number one thing for us. I don't. I'd much rather a kid hit a speed PR than a weight room PR. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because we're athletes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure. Like you helped me out a lot with your talk that you did. I just said, was it in April to the Coaches Association?
yeah. At center, was it that one or
I believe
I
you did
did
one
five or
in,
six talks this year, so I don't remember.
I think you did one in Louisville.
Wait, oh no, this was in Lexington. This was in Lexington. Maybe no.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. One of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. But our DC was there and he listened to it. And he's like, well, what do you think about speed work? I was like, man, yeah, I've just been kind of inching my way in a little bit at a time. And it's like, yeah, we need to start doing that in season. And we threw that to coach and then he's all on board. So
Yeah.
for us, it's going to be a huge game changer.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's not a huge time investment. Again, I run at practice. If everybody's there, we got 100 kids there. I run
mhm.
100 kids through in 25 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So you got to, you don't have 100 kids, you can get it done quicker, or 30 minutes is perfect. And there's sometimes when we'll pull out some bands and stuff, but
Hmm.
that's a handful of times. The majority of the time, there's no equipment. It is
Hmm.
100% basic, fundamental drills, A skips, B skips, bounding, things like that you don't need anything with. And then again, that's my kind of mantra is drill, apply, drill, apply.
Yeah.
Drill. This is what we're working on. Run the sprint. Take what you did in the drill. Try to do it. Try to do
Hmm.
it. Like drill it, apply it, and it works. It can be super, super simple.
Yeah.
You don't have to get fancy.
Yeah. So let's transition now to your training because anyone checks out your Instagram account, you're an absolute fucking freak show. So how are you? What is it that you're trying to accomplish right now? Because I follow your account, I see your videos. What are you training for right now?
I'm just trying not to get old, brother. I'm trying not to get old. So, yeah, I keep telling myself that I might sign up for like that Apex
Yeah.
game. Yeah, I might do that because that's all outside of the mile, that's all wheelhouse stuff for me.
Hmm.
Let's jump high, stuff like that. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Maybe if they break out age group divisions because I'm 42. I don't know if I need to be competing with a 25-year-old anymore.
I
Uh,
think you can hang with them though.
yeah, maybe, maybe. But yeah, so I mean, honestly, I'm just training to feel good. A lot of the training I do, I train hard, really, because for mental health. It just makes me feel good.
Hmm.
Um, but why am I still fast and powerful? Um, I never really stopped
Yeah.
training. That's kind of it. Strength stays with you as you get older,
Hmm.
but that power starts to go away, and I notice it a little bit. I'm not as reactive or twitchy, so to speak. I think my peaks are still really high, but that twitchiness isn't
Yeah.
the same as it was, 15, 20 years ago. But yeah, man, I just never stopped doing it, and I train like an athlete because it feels good to me. I love squatting heavy, and I don't love bench press, but I love deadlifts, things like that. But cleaning is just it's an athletic movement. You got to put so many things together to get it right. And when you hit it right, man, it feels good.
Mhm.
And then jumping and sprinting, those are like the most powerful things a human can do, and you don't need anything to do it. So that's why I do it. I just want to run fast and jump high because it's easy. It's and it's fun. It's fun. It's so much more fun than doing bicep curls. In
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If a kid gets buried on a 185 deadlift, I love walking over there and curling that.
Yeah, so that'll happen every once in a while. A kid will drop a front squat. He'll drop 225 front squat on the safety arms because again we don't spot a front squat. Guys just
Yep.
on the arms, and then I'll walk over and just pop it pop it up, and they'll give me that sideways look.
Uh,
Like, yeah, it's like I can still go if I want to, kids. I just don't show it to you guys all the time. And that's selfishly that is a little bit of it. Is that you know I want my kids to know that, yeah, I still get in the trenches too and get after it.
mhm.
And if you're a coach who doesn't train, that's fine. That's totally cool. Nothing wrong with that. But for me, I enjoy that, being able to do that every once in a while with my kids, or just demoing a movement for them, and
Yeah.
demoing a movement and having it be smooth and easy. It's just I think it goes a long way, with
Mhm.
athletes. Now, on that note, with demoing, I only demo the good side to the kids. I have had some injuries, so I will not demo my bad side. Uh,
Yeah.
I
Oh
will
yeah,
only
same
do,
here.
yeah, yeah. So like you're only gonna see the good side, guys. So I'd never let them see your weaknesses, I guess.
Yeah. Didn't you have an injury this past couple of years with the Achilles?
Yeah, yeah. It was on a speed day. Uh, so gosh, what are we? I think I'm 3 years out now. Full rupture of my patella tendon. We were more or less we were bounding, and I had demoed it.
Mhm.
And hey, boom, all right, this is what we got. Boom, here's the demo. Guys ready? And an athlete, God love him, he's off playing college baseball at Notre Dame now. Awesome kid. He said, "Coach, can we see that one more time?" And it's always that one extra rep. Now, it's all my fault because my foot hit the ground wrong. I landed more ball of foot instead of
Uh,
landing heel toe. So all my fault. But yeah, so full rupture went down. Um, Luckily, it was the very last thing we were going to do. So I hit the ground, looked up at the kids, and tweeted my whistle and said, "All right, guys, we're done inside." Um, and then went back in, got braced up, and had a weight room session to coach. Yeah, yeah. So it didn't hurt at the moment. It was hours later that,
yeah.
oh hell, this. I thought I
Pretty
did
serious.
my ACL, but no, it was patella tendon. So yeah, that knocked me down for a while. And that was another thing. I've had injuries and stuff before, but um, the rehab process for it, I really attacked that.
Hmm.
I took it as if I'm training for bobsled, as if I'm training to run, a 40 or whatever. I took it very, very serious. Because again, I'm getting older, so I know that I knew
Yeah.
if I did not get myself back to a good spot, like I wouldn't be happy with, what
Hmm.
I'd be able to do, because again, the body doesn't work as well as it did, 20 years ago. So like, I got to take this thing serious, so that if I'm going to be able to just do my job
Yeah.
well, where I can effectively move and coach on the floor and demo things for the kids, I need to take it really, really serious. And then again, selfishly, I still want to try to be athletic as long as I can.
Yeah.
So like I got to attack this thing. So the rehab process was great. I had a great job with the surgeon, and then my PT was phenomenal, former athlete, so he understood the mind uh,
Hmm.
of somebody who trains like that. And he did a really, really great job. And honestly, I PR'd some things, lifetime PR'd some things, a year and a half after surgery. So what is that? Is that maybe super compensation? One of those old Russian terms?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's what it was. That's super compensation, you know.
Well, cool. Couple more questions. One is for the guy that wants to start cleaning, start doing cleans, but they're so restricted in their elbows and their wrists because that stuff tightens up as you get older anyway. Is there something that you would say you need to do this, like this mobility drill, or is it just one of those where suck it the fuck up and just catch it and push and you just gotta be young again?
Yeah, how's this? Yes. Yeah, a little bit of both, you know. There's the old, wrist stretching, tricep
Hmm.
stretching, lat stretching, stuff like that. But one of do you know Quinn Hennock? He was at Velocity. I didn't know if he was there when you were.
No, I know the name.
Yeah, but so he's a physical therapist now. He founded Clinical Athlete, which is basically a uh, a network of PTs directed at working with athletic populations. Got involved with Chad Wesley Smith, with Juggernaut,
Mhm.
things like that. He put it best, and it just clicked. It made so much sense. He said, one of the best ways to get more comfortable in that rack position is to spend time in the rack position. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
So, that is just an empty bar, whether it be on your front squat days or your clean days where you're more or less just doing ISO holds and
Hmm.
empty bar and you're just spending time there, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, where you're just getting used to that. And yeah, you're gonna feel it here. Okay. But then something that I like to do with my kids, I just started cleaning my basketball team. Okay.
Hmm.
Started cleaning them. And they were a little bit uncomfortable getting here. So what I would have them do is I just have them, all right, bring the bar up so their elbows are straight now.
Hmm.
Take your right elbow, just rotate it up. They all could do that. All
Hmm.
right, bring it down. Left elbow, all the way up. Okay, great. Right elbow back up. Keep it there. Left elbow up. 100% of them were able to get the rack. Now, are they 100% every time they go up to catch the clean? No. That's going to come
Hmm.
with reps. But what it did for them was it let them realize and recognize, okay, I have the mobility to get here.
Yeah,
Now I just need to drill the heck out of it.
yeah.
And that's going to happen over time. So,
Hmm.
hopefully by this time next year, yeah, like we got beautiful rack positions. So suck it up and deal with it. All right. But yes, there are some things that I have found to be successful. And again, I don't know what mobility drill you want to call that, but whatever that is, uh,
It works.
yeah, it worked. It worked for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm always someone that if I get a kid that's stuck here, I just jam his elbows up and I just hold him. Same
Yeah.
kind of things. I want you to feel it, but also in terms of like catching a clean, if I can catch it on his fingertips, that's all I really need.
Yeah.
But if I want to jerk it, all right, well, I need to pop, but we don't do that.
No, we don't jerk. And yeah, so like when we front squat or we catch cleans, like I'll show them all of it. All right, guys, boom, hey, full hand. Oh,
Hmm.
pinkies are off, two fingers
Yeah,
are up.
yeah,
It's all okay. It's
yeah,
all okay. If you got one finger on the bar, you're cool. And again, I love cleans. Again, if you ever look at my social media, that's all it is. But this is the first year I have cleaned football since COVID. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, so like all those silly rules that we had to follow, we couldn't clean in an effective manner. So we just jumped our faces off.
hmm,
All the variations of body weight and loaded jumps, trap bar, dumbbell, barbell, split stance, whatever, we were doing it. And there was no performance drop off. So I just say that because, I love it. But if you don't feel like you're proficient at coaching it,
yeah,
there's other ways to get the same results.
yeah,
I brought it back this year just because I got a lot of kids are going to go play college football,
yeah,
and I want them to be prepared when they walk in that weight room day one. I want to get that text message, 3 months into their college career of, Coach, man, we're just doing all the same stuff we were doing at Trinity. I walked in and I knew exactly what to do. I'm like, good.
yeah,
That's the goal. So that's the only reason if we didn't have all these college kids on our team right now, I probably wouldn't be doing it. Uh,
Yeah.
just because it does take a while to teach. You know,
Yeah.
we again we start training in third week of January. We don't
Hmm.
actually do a full power clean until April. Like we're just because I'm just layering the progressions of it. Again, that's part of the beauty of the tier system, is that you can get multiple exposures to it throughout the week. And then when it is time to do it, after about two sets, it kind of clicks like, oh,
Hmm.
we've already done all this. Yeah, you're right. Now just put it together. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, so that's, I guess that's my little rant off on a tangent there.
Yeah. Like for us, we brought it back this year. And again, I haven't had a team clean since 2010. And like you just say, we just jump the hell out of everybody. We sprint. Those things for the most part will take care of it.
Yeah.
But then talking to one of my mentors, he's like, well, you know, there is a benefit in the load absorption part. Like
Yeah.
you are learning how to take in impact
Yeah.
and move through it. So I've seen that benefit with our guys, and I'm glad we've done it. It's not something we've kept in the entire time because I'm kind of a put it in, get a stimulus, pull it back out, push it back in when I wanted to. But it's been great for us.
Yeah, and I know there's some people again. There's so many smart people, and also people on the internet who are not as smart that argue that all right, there's not a big benefit in the catch. And like if I'm in a contact sport
Yeah,
and I receive 200 pounds on my body, and I have the ability to absorb it and
yeah,
maintain position and be rigid, or if I collapse on it,
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to pick the kid who's able to receive that and withstand the load.
Hmm.
I'm going to pick him every single time, uh,
Hmm.
just because his body is going to be it's going to be stronger when somebody runs up and smacks him in the face,
Yeah,
on Friday nights or on the basketball court or whatever it is. So again, there's a lot of benefit to it outside of we're trying to develop power, we're trying to jump higher, whatever you want to say. It's just the
yeah,
fact that yeah, I can take something into my body and still maintain a good solid position.
yeah.
There's so much benefit to
Yeah, I'm glad you said that basketball too. Um, that's one. That's the one that I'm thinking about for next year is we sneak it in postseason because we got
it.
a lot of young guys. But when I was at Canisius, man, my guys were so fucking proficient at cleans, and I got guys that are 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
And man, when you watch them bury that into like a full squat clean, that's freaking impressive as shit.
Yeah, like there's videos of Horace Grant.
Oh yeah, oh
Look,
yeah,
300 pounds.
315.
No,
Yeah,
315. What is he? 6'9"?
yep,
And just like and it looked good. Like
yeah,
you're telling me yes, he was an elite athlete, but just because you're tall and you play a certain sport doesn't mean you can't do it.
yep.
You got to be taught and you got to be willing to be taught.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't my basketball guys we're only going from the hang. Uh,
Yep,
my football guys will take it down to the floor for a power clean from the deck, but my
yep.
basketball guys just go from the hang. I don't see any reason to take them all the way down. You know, not that they shouldn't, but we're just hang with those cats.
Yep, yep. And with us, we're hanging more from the rack. Like
Mhm.
you guys clean from blocks, we are, from the rack is the same damn thing.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah,
Well,
same thing.
cool. One more question for you, and I'll let you go because I kept you on for a little while here. If you're a young coach and you're about to take over a program, what's the first thing that you would tell someone to do? So let's just say that you took over Trinity one more time, and it's a blank slate. You don't know the last guy that was in there. What would be the first thing that you would do?
Yeah, so, I actually did this like 2 days ago. An intern of mine, he's been coaching some assistant coaching throughout some college ranks, but he just got a his first head position at a high school in Houston.
It's awesome.
So he sent me a Facebook message, thanking me and everything, and then just kind of asked about if what should I be looking to do when I walk in here day one. Um, So I gave them two scenarios. I said, well, if you're starting a program from scratch, that's one thing. If you're taking over for something that's already existing, I think that's going to be a little bit different. So he's taking over for something that was existing. So he doesn't know. Um, he wasn't like me where he knew what he was walking into. He doesn't know what kind of movers they are because
Hmm.
he hasn't been on site to witness any training of the current teams. So I basically told him. I said, look, gonna start with the most basic things possible, where that might be. All right, I just want to watch these kids move, not necessarily even under load. So, I guess you could call that block zero, so to speak. You could call that block zero. And it might last 1 week. It might last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, just based on what you got. So I want to see what their patterns look like. I want to see what their squat patterns, their hinge patterns, their lunge patterns. I want to see what that stuff looks like. And then that is going to help dictate, our starting point once we do start to load these kids. All right, are these kids ready to go onto a back squat? All right, or do we need to spend a good amount of time in a goblet squat, or if I'm a front squat guy, do they understand? Can they get to it right away, or do I need to at least let them go into some zombie positions where, all right, I'm just learning to have that bar sit, right behind that deltoid. So I want to see how they move. I want to see how the kids move. And then if I've got a mature athletic group, all right, well then I'm probably going to start to do some traditional, training with them, where we are loading. But if I'm walking into a group that is full, like doesn't have any experience, I'm going to block zero the heck out of them. All right. I'm going to spend 6, 8 weeks on body weights. I'm going to spend that on isometrics and eccentric work, with my body weight before I get into load. So it's kind of like what I would do with our incoming freshmen, because yeah, they're probably working with private people, but to me, they're they're totally raw and haven't done anything. They might train with their dad, but I'm not their dad, so they don't train with me. So with those incoming freshmen, it's isometric work. It is position work. If you have the space available, I used to do it a lot. I don't have the spaces readily available anymore. I think there's a huge benefit to tumbling, forward rolls, backward rolls, hell, just doing a cartwheel,
Yep.
just that spatial awareness, understanding your body in space. I think there's a huge benefit to that. If I don't know how to move my body, and with all these kids going through puberty, as you alluded to earlier, their bodies are growing and developing. They don't know how to move their body.
Yep.
They've got, so just understanding kind of where it is in space and what things feel like. I think that's really really important. So to wrap it up, then if it's an established program, I want to see how they move. All right. And then that's going to dictate, where we go. If it's brand new, then I'm going to block zero their faces off, and just slow cook them, so to speak.
Yeah. That's the approach that I kind of take too. It doesn't matter where you're at. Everyone goes through a basic base of that every year. Like even at the college level, I had guys coming in squatting 500 pounds, and I'm just isometric the hell out of them because they're redshirted.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most brutal programs that anyone could go through because I don't do anything easy. Everything is full bore. Um, but it was one of the most beneficial things because when we got to that off season, they were just completely different than everybody else when I got on day one. So it was a big learning curve for me, and it helped me figure things out.
Yeah, I mean, we, every, like, again, we start third week of January, and like that first 2 weeks, it's a crap ton of isometrics.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
we're holding positions, we're learning where things are. So a lot of squat iso holds, a lot of chin up holds, a lot of
Mm.
variation on row holds and split stance holds, things like
Yep.
that, a lot of hamstrings. Whether you're using a roller or just traditional bridging. We spent about 2 weeks doing that before we really get in and start clanging and banging.
Yep. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Just to wrap it up, tell us where we can find you.
Oh, wow. So I do have a Twitter. I don't I don't post anything on Twitter, you know, but mo mostly on Instagram. It's just it's Mike underscore Snyder 35. Um, I don't. I used to do a lot of stuff with my athletes. You know, 6, 7 years ago, I used to do a lot of stuff recording them and showcasing what we do. But then I got to a point where I felt like I wasn't coaching, so it kind of got away from that. So if you want to reach out to me and pick my brain, that's an easy way to do it. Or if you just want to watch somebody, you know, hopefully clean 400 pounds in the next 6 to 8 months, or jump really, really high, you know, you can reach out to me there. Otherwise, you know, email me, michael.snyder35 at Gmail. I'm an open book. I don't have any secrets. I learn from everybody. And I just, you know, I take things that I learn and adapt them. And I don't want to say steal things, but we all steal from each
Yeah,
other.
we all do.
Yeah, yeah, we all steal from each other. So we just, I'm an open book. So I'm happy to talk to anybody about anything.
Well, good stuff, man. I appreciate you being on here today. If you can hold on just for a second after I wrap this up. And
Yeah,
this
of
has been Monstrousitous Minute episode, God knows what, with Mike Snyder. And I appreciate you, brother.
course, man.